So I meet this guy the other day. He says, "Oh, I recognize your face from the videos that you're putting out." And then he says, "I still don't understand how the government buys." So we're going to do a quick tutorial on how the government buys things, how they say they buy it, and how they actually buy it. Good? So just to recap, there's 90,000 government agencies that spend $7 trillion. The government's the largest prospect in the world. You should be selling to the government if you're not. This building represents any government agency, federal, state, and local. Let's just say we're going to buy 100 printers, all right? The government's going to buy 100 printers. They put out a bid RFP. The only difference between a bid and RFP is an RFP is a request for proposal. It's just more complex. So for printers, we put out a bid. It's typically on the street for about 90 days. It's open for about 90 days. Any company that's interested in it, they'll typically have some Q&A back and forth. It all has to be in writing. And then if you're a company that wants to submit a bid or proposal, there's a deadline the day it's due. So let's say it's due on the 1st of the month. What happens on the 1st of the month? Once all the proposals are in, we'll do a bid opening and we'll create this thing called a bid tabulation. Now, bid tabulation is really a summary of all the proposals, who submitted proposals, and typically the price that they submitted. Good? Now, at the end of the bid opening, company 2 in this case feels like they're in good shape. They're the cheapest vendor in the process. However, the government will typically spend another 60 or 90 days doing evals on the company, the product, all the things to confirm they want to buy that particular item. So let's just say in this case, they nixed product 2 because when they checked references, they weren't very good. Let's just say they'd go to number 4 and they nixed number 4, the next highest price, because the product specs and the references weren't good. And let's say we're going to award to company number 1. What they do is they announce a winner. So they announce a winner in the process, but we're still not done. So now we got to actually do the contract, because during this process, the company has not really been allowed to talk to the government agency. So during the contracting phase, we clean up all the details of the contract. And this is when the lawyers get involved, and lawyers only get paid when they change things, so they always change things, right? So this process takes about another 90 days to get the contract done. And then we actually do the final award. And so the contract's not done, or the procurement's not done until we do the award and we actually issue the purchase order, which has the money associated with it. So this process takes about 6 to 9 months, can be somewhat time consuming and cumbersome. But the challenge is only 20% of government spending is done this way. The other 80% of government spending is done through one of these mechanisms, because this is so laborious and everybody wants to do it more efficient, the government and the companies. Good? So let's walk through the other ways the government will buy things. The first one is sole source. So sole source is exactly what it sounds like. If you're the only source for a particular product, you have a patent on it. If we went out to bid an RFP, we'd only get one proposal because you're a sole source. The government will issue it that way. The next is piggyback. Piggyback is if a company won a bid in an RFP recently and another government agency wants to piggyback on that procurement. They'll add quantities, they'll add volume to that particular contract. You'll piggyback on the procurement, again, avoiding a new bid or RFP. Third would be discretionary spend. Discretionary spend, every government agency has a limit up to a certain amount they can spend without going out to bid an RFP, so they can spend up to $5K without going out to bid RFP, or $10K. Next is P-card. P-card is just purchase card. It's just a credit card the government agencies will give certain employees so they can go out and purchase on their own. The next one is set-asides. The government has a bunch of socio-economic classifications that they'll set aside. So small business, minority-owned business, woman-owned business, veteran-owned business, or regional. If they say, hey, listen, we want you to do this procurement in our county or in our state. Now, you still might go out to bid an RFP, but a set-aside will greatly limit the amount of competition. Then lastly, one of the other ones is GSA or state schedule. So products are put on GSA or state schedule. You can go out and buy them. It's very similar to how you do an e-procurement today on a website. There's also some agencies that have set up co-ops, which are very similar to a GSA or state schedule. So this is a general overview of how the government buys today. Look for more episodes of GovSales Secrets to help increase your government sales. God bless.